Good afternoon, everybody. This is Matt Motz with Coldwell Banker, and I'm joined by Greg Thomas from Cross Country Mortgage today. Greg, thanks for being here.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me.
And Greg, I really want to kind of focus today on, if you're a first-time home buyer, how to navigate this very interesting housing market.
Absolutely. I think first-time home buyers, they will benefit from just, surrendering to certain processes, right? Hey, there's these steps that need to take. The reason that you're being asked these questions and going through these steps is to really protect the integrity of that pre-approval that you're seeking. Right?
Absolutely.
So, there's questions that will be asked. You're like, well, I'm just trying to get pre-approved. And I often say, folks, well, this is tethered to that. So we give examples of what a loan is, what goes into it. Kind of like that chair you're sitting in. Why does that chair hold you up? Because it's got 4 strong legs. Income, assets, credit, and collateral are all good enough to finance and approve a loan. A lot that goes into that. It's not just debt to income ratio. It's not just being able to afford the payment. It's not just about having money land in your bank account and then being able to use it. Like you're going to the mall. Hey, I got $200 in my pocket. I'm going to walk out with a pair of shoes. It doesn't quite work like that. There's systems, there's procedures, there's things called guidelines, right? And you have to adhere to, and that pre-approval, all these questions that may seem funky. And you're like, man, you're really taking a deep dive. Well, yeah, if you think this is deep, wait till the underwriter gets a hold of it. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure that we understand everything about your file so we can see, like, is this integrous enough to move forward? Can we give some reassurances that we feel very, very good? When I say very, very good, like 99% chance this is going to close type scenario when you're getting pre-approved. What I see happen is that folks kind of glaze over certain aspects of it, don't take it as serious as they need to in the beginning, like knowing, you wouldn't believe how many people don't know where they've worked for the past 2 years and have dates, and all those things matter, because if you have job gaps, you can have a problem. Oh, I've changed jobs 4 times in the past year. A lot of people don't realize that can be a problem. When you're looking at pay statements and your year-to-date earnings don't match what is on your application, that can be a problem. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have, over the past 18 months, started going back and charging back these lenders that have approved these deals with a haphazard underwrite, meaning they just, oh, hey, this is good enough. Like, no, income stability is huge. So if there's anything about the income that looks unstable, that could create a problem for you.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. Now, if somebody, they do go through the process, they get pre-approved, they get that letter. Now they've got to go out, now they've got to look at houses in a very low inventory market.
Sure.
And they're competing for offers with sometimes 5, 10, 15 other people.
Sure.
What do they have to do to get to the top of the mountain, to get the
Sure.
head of everybody else in terms of getting that solid offer?
Well, they need to work with a agent that they feel have a good connection, that they really, have this relationship, built a rapport with, that they trust, and then surrender to that trust, right? And then that's some things that you have to do to, be willing to compete. Here's what you need to have. You got to have dough. You got to have money. I mean, there are down payment assistance programs. There are 100% financing options out there. But if you're competing with 8 to 10 other offers, you better have some money. I'm not saying that you won't get an offer accepted. I'm just saying it's very hard to compete when you're doing a no down payment or a down payment assistance program, when you might be going up against cash. Mm-hmm. So the folks that have $9,000 to $11,000 are the ones that are succeeding right now. Mm-hmm. And that allows you to make a minimum down payment of 3 to 5% and pay your closing costs in the setup of your escrow account. If you don't have that money, or you think you can show up to closing with that money without it being verified, or I'll save it, like, that's when people start running into problems. That's when you feel like, man, I'm bringing a knife to a gunfight. Mm-hmm. But money is the number one thing right now. Whether it's sitting back and stacking some chips and have a savings plan, put yourself on a budget, or you're getting a gift from a family member, you want to make sure your money's right and that you have it documented. And you're not always going to use all the money that we verify. We need reserves. Reserves are money that you have that we're not using for the transaction. That also allows you to do some appraisal gapping. Mm-hmm. So you want to have more money than you need. That way you can compete. But the epicenter of it is money. Dollars. So right. It just doesn't translate when you're trying to take advantage of, or trying to have a seller pay your closing costs combined with a down payment assistance program or 100% financing. It just makes it difficult to compete.
Absolutely.
So we're having that competitive conversation with people. So when you, like, for example, Matt, you send someone over, we're having these conversations that you're having. So it's not like the first, well, Greg never said anything about money. No, we talk about it. We talk about every leg of that loan chair, right?
Oh, yeah.
How important, why is it important? And again, we don't try to be discouraging. We just try to educate.
Yeah.
Like, look, give yourself a solid cut at this next pitch, but you got to have a bat and you got to be standing in the batter's box to be able to do it.
And that helps us tremendously when you guys reinforce, basically, so they know going into the process. Now, if somebody, they do get the offer accepted, they get ahead of everybody else, and now it's just kind of, we're getting everything approved, all the lending approved, going through the inspection process. To the first-time buyer, it's not just their mortgage payment that they have to worry about. A lot of first-time buyers, they're on a budget, and they really have to crunch numbers, and for a lot of them, they really have to watch their spending the first couple of years until they get used to it. Besides the mortgage payment, what are other things they really need to factor in when looking at that monthly budget?
Yeah, the whole monthly, it needs to fully encompass everything. You may be coming from a rental situation where you didn't have to pay for utilities or all of the utilities. Okay, this is where it comes down to an older home that may have older windows and older doors. You need to be budgeting for higher heating expenses in the winter. All these things, it's just more than that payment. Okay, and if you're living at home right now and you're not saving more than what the mortgage payment's going to be, you're going to have a problem. Okay, you're going to be in a paycheck to paycheck situation. You have to change your spending habits. Okay, you can't just, I can afford the payment. Well, but you can't just keep, living life as if you did not have that payment. You have to create and, incorporate and really breathe it in, these new financial habits. So, it's more than budgeting. That's kind of like the, that's part of the process, but you have to really have a shift in your mindset. What's more important, going out to eat every night or owning your own home?
Very good. Absolutely. And Greg, anything else you want to share with a first-time buyer? Anything, especially in this market, what can they do if they're very serious about buying their first home?
One, be prepared, okay? Like if you need to be out of your current housing situation, okay, don't wait until you're given your 60-day notice. You need to be looking 6 months in advance, okay? And you're just giving yourself, what you're doing is you're not putting yourself in a compromising situation, right? So adding stress and angst to something that's already kind of manic anyway, right? You're competing. So in addition to preparing, you got to keep your mind right. You got to, when you're going and writing an offer on a house, don't go telling your family, don't tell your friends. Wait until you get the accepted offer. And then that's something to get excited about. That's something to celebrate. Getting your hopes up. I hear people say this all the time, this is my dream house. I'm like, yeah, it might be. It might be fulfilling or satisfying a dream that you have about housing, but the likelihood it's your dream house, don't go down that road. It's a roller coaster ride of all these expectations. So what if that deal doesn't work out? Now you have to console yourself about losing your dream house. So let's not make mountains. I see that happen all the time where folks will take a small microscopic situation and blow it out the water, and
Absolutely.
then, they're completely disheveled by the whole process. So keeping your mind right and staying centered is huge. Another thing I would tell folks to do is stay away from the water cooler talk, okay? Your very well-intentioned family, friends, coworkers think they're helping you by giving you advice that may or may not apply to you.
Oh, yeah.
Or they bought in a different market. It's pandemonium out there. Folks it's insane like what's happening. It's unprecedented. I've never seen it. Who knows if we'll ever see it quite like this again. So you got to keep your mind right. You got to remember who are your really good resources, your realtor and your loan officer, and as well-intentioned as the friends, coworkers, and family members may be, that information is not always accurate and it can disrupt your experience.
Absolutely. And we never want to be in a situation where we want to contradict somebody, what their friends or their family are telling them. You never want to be in that spot. Well, they don't know what they're talking about or this or that, because that's never our intention.
No.
Our intention is to educate them the best way possible.
When we do that, we add that. So we always say like, hey, these are very well-intentioned people. Okay.
Absolutely.
They're trying to help. But that information, that advice doesn't always help.
Exactly. So.
Well,
Greg, thanks for joining us today. As always, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
And hopefully this was useful.
Oh, yeah.
First-time buyers, it's a great process, and I enjoy helping you through the entire process. So, but Greg has some great points today. So if you have any questions, reach out, definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.